Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Off the Top. My apologies, didn't get to do a match review of the night's game, and I know it's quite late in the week for a match preview for South's game, but I'll do my best. But if you are here for the first time, please give us a like and a subscribe if it's your first time here at wahsup TV for more New Zealand Warriors content. We appreciate you guys' support and everything that you guys do. Look, just want to quickly go back over the night's. And also go look into the Rabbitohs game coming up tomorrow. I'm doing this on Friday, so you're pretty late. But also want to kind of look at where we're at after 4 games and maybe a little bit of an overview of the past month of footy and what it looks like and how we're tracking. But quickly going back to the Knights game, I thought we played a great game overall. It was a grinded out fest. Both teams just really committed to defense, committed to playing tough and hard. And I think in the end, our quality showed in terms of our forward pack, and then the little details and areas that we do so well. And I think especially if we look at our back five overall, with the added element of RTS from fullback, it just kept us in the game at all times and kept us in dominant positions. I think our forwards were solid all around. Even the bench forwards as well did a really good job. Egan, his masterful work again around the ruck, and just his general play in terms of getting Sean and those guys in the right places. Sean played a really good kicking game. Chanel as well, filling in for Metcalf, and quickly on Metcalf, really unfortunate, and I feel very sad to see the injury that he's had. It's a fibia or tibia, I believe, and is out for almost the whole season, similar to what Tamati had last season. And it's just really unfortunate. A guy that I think we all knew was a project, and that I think he's even signed his contract recently. We know he's a project, he's a work in progress, but the natural raw talent and ability is there. It's just sort of we wanted to see that flourish and maybe develop. It's just unfortunate that we have to have that on hold a little bit more. But more importantly, I'm happy it wasn't a hamstring issue. I know that's no matter what type of injury it is, it's unfortunate, but the fact that he hasn't re-aggravated his hamstring of yet. Let's hope that he comes back full health and maybe towards the end of the season. But wishing him the best. But I thought CHT came in and did a really good job. Defensively moved well. Pompey, actually, that channel, CHT, Pompey, Ford, and Montoya, just nice movement across the park. The Knights actually targeted more SJ's side. I suppose that was the side where they introduced Ponga, Bradman Best, and Tuala, and really focused on getting Sean biting in on Kai Pierce-Paul, and then getting the 3-on-2 for Ponga, and him deciding whether if Dallin jams, he's going to do the cutout pass, or if they stay out wide. And Ponga was really good with his kicking game. We saw the 2 tries. We saw specifically the one to Bradman Best, just a nice weighted kick. I thought the other one was a bit unfortunate in terms of just a really bad location in terms of where the ball was. It's kind of in a dead area, and RTS coming through, and Frizzell does a great job. But overall, I thought across the park, our guys are looking really good. And then the tries on our end, getting Ford activated, like Sean and Ford getting a rhythm together, I think that was beautiful to see. Hopefully we see a little bit more of that with Tamaita coming in this week, just sort of them getting in sync, getting that line, even getting Montoya and RTS activated a little bit early ball, and that type of stuff. And then the kick from CHT to Montoya, I thought was beautiful, like a nice element to have. And I think in the future, CHT will be looking to hold down the 5/8 spot. I think his value at the moment is just too high in Webby's eyes as a utility. But that kick from Montoya for that try, that was well weighted, and not, again, left side, coming from the right side, kicking to the left side, something we don't usually see, and probably haven't seen that type of a try from Montoya. So it's nice to keep defenses off balance. It's a nice variety to have, and it's great that we have him in our team. And I think I'll get into that a bit later about how the impact of these of our players, our signings have been so far. But if you look back at it, the Egan try, the setup, the detail around it, CHT in support, doing his job, following the play, and then ultimately RTS and his work from the back just got us out of a lot of trouble, but also just got us on the front foot, put our sets in the right places to be able to follow the system that we love. I mean, I'm not sure how many tackle breaks or line breaks he had, but there were just some massive runs, early in the tackle count. I mean, the one where he stepped, 2 or 3 guys, he bumped off the other fella. But there were ones even on third and fourth tackles where he was just sort of chiming in and creating these half breaks and just getting our sets on the front foot, allowing Sean to get to a nice kick or set up for the next play. So he was massive in that and integral in that part. And so, yeah, really, really proud of what the team has done. But I think at the end of the day, I think the team, from the comments that they're looking at, they're looking for a more clinical performance, even finishing games off to be more clinical and close them out more comfortably. We saw that little run towards the end. If RTS doesn't knock that ball down, it could have been a really tight finish. And we've seen what's happened before when that's been the case. So it's little details like that I'm sure the guys will want to try and really fix and try and get a complete 80 minutes. But at the moment, we're tracking well, and to get 2 back-to-backs feels good. So moving on to the Souths game, I feel again, going off of that pattern, the boys want to have a continued performance. Now there are going to be some changes. Obviously, C&K coming back in. Will he need to find his feet a little bit, or will things automatically click into place, and will our offensive goal line attacks sort of start to open up how it did? Will the right side be more activated where Dallin will get to the corner a lot more? Or what will it look like? I think we're a little bit unsure right now on how that might look. It might need a game or two, or it could just flourish straight away. So I think we'll just have to wait and see. But we know what C&K, the value he brings. I'm very much in the camp of C&K at fullback. I think it's really smart. I love what RTS does, but I think C&K adds a different dynamic, and more of a, I suppose, structured dynamic, even defensively and on the offensive side. Whereas you can still maximize the running game, the attributes of RTS from centre. You can still inject him in different plays. You can use him. He's still used as a decoy, as a lead runner. He can be used in so many elements. It doesn't mean that, he's going to just be isolated to the centre. I think he's going to actually develop his game even wider. But I think C&K is still very much the key to our success from the fullback position. So I'm excited to see how that goes. The other change is obviously RTS is back to centre. I think we'll see a little bit more when now talking about Tamaiti Martin, that should flourish a little bit. I think Tamaiti obviously doesn't have the pace or the running game of a Metcalf, but he has the setup play. I know he's been in and out of the team, obviously since that injury that he had last year. He just hasn't had a good run of games to be able to get in the flow. And when he came in back even on the back end, it was literally into a final series where he's playing the Panthers. He's playing high pressure games, and it wasn't the best reflection, I suppose, to get himself back into it. And then he goes into an off season and Metcalf wins the job. I feel it. He needs he hopefully will have a good run here. I think if Webby's gone with Tamaiti, I'm expecting that he will hold that spot for a decent period of time to get him the reps, to get him familiarity, because it did look good with Sean and in the start of the season. Montoya was getting nice touches. That edge was getting some nice balls, some nice finishing. Let's hope that we can get some of that back. And I think that's what we're looking for. And I think maybe even RTS getting some more options, better lines, more space for himself to work his magic. And likewise, hopefully for forward, having a nice touch with Tamaiti. Tamaiti does have a nice touch with the ball, does have a nice pass, and defensively can hold up really well as well. So I think this is Webby making a good call. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Egan, I think again he's obviously healthy. Played 80 minutes. I like what they did. If I just go quickly back to the Knights game, there were passages where they put him in kind of in that back row positioning where he's not in the front line, should we say, where he's almost tackling 5 in on either side. He's more on the 4-man or even sometimes at the centre position, kind of covering up for him. And I think Capewell and Ford almost did a really good job of just working tirelessly. And I think in a way kind of got him through the 80 minutes. It wasn't like that the complete game, but you could tell that where he was positioned in the line, he did find some places where he wasn't in high contact areas all the time. He wasn't being exposed fully. But, the NRL teams figure things out. They might target him if he's in those positions. But I love what he did and to be able to make it an 80-minute game. And then maybe we see some changes in the interchange and how that might impact it. But obviously, Capewell dropping out, new quarter coming in. I think that's a decent loss in terms of the value that Capewell brings is the 80-minute performance. Yes, he's not going to give you massive run meters, but he gives you 80 minutes of 1%ers of high-level tackling, of high-level motor work rate. I thought he got the first 5 minutes, he almost did maybe 15 tackles last week, just getting through the work, getting into the grind, getting domination in the ruck. I thought he was really good in that facet. And then if you looked at his overall numbers, I think he got close to 50 tackles. So, and they were good tackles. They weren't, flopping or third man in. These were like dominant part of the tackle, controlling the ruck. So I think he's going to be missed a little bit. And it's sort of looking at how does the team, or how does Webby adapt to missing that element from Capewell, and how does it impact your bench? I think Marata could play easily, maybe 60 minutes there confidently. And I think in most cases he has played 60 minutes at back row, but he's always had a sub to either bring him off or move him back into the front row. So that sub was Curran last year. There's been shouts for Laban. I would love to see a Laban. But I think the natural feeling is that maybe Barnett moves to the back row and then somehow Marata either comes into front row or he goes off and interchanges for Jazz or Bunty, and then Barnett does a shift at back row. So I think it's kind of going to be into that type of a model. Laban would have been nice, but I think how do we get the best balance in terms of we don't want to lose too much from the middle from Barnett moving out. We need as much middle forwards as we possibly can on the bench to be able to cover that. So that will be interesting. Now, if you look that into the bench, well, obviously, Tamite is starting. Does CHT get a bench spot? Now, what are your middle forwards now that Barnett is going to be possibly, from what I can see, not sure that it will eventuate their way, but if Barnett goes out to the edge, who's your rotations to come and fill those spots in the middle? So it could look as though, Barney, AFB come off. You might have Jazz or Bunty come on. And then Marata does an extra 10 minutes or so. And then Barnett brings him off. He comes off, or he goes to the middle, brings off Bunty. And so there's a few things to work out in terms of how they're going to do their rotations, how they're going to plan it, and what type of cover do you have to fill any spot. Say if Marata goes down, you got, or Bunty, Barnett goes down, do you have enough middle cover? Those types of things. So there's, we'll have to see tonight, obviously, with the 24-hour cutoff. We'll hopefully see what the plan is. But there's definitely, you could hold 3 middle forwards, drop Lussick out and put CHT on if you're confident enough that you can get through Egan with 80 minutes or close to 70 minutes or even 65 and then run the last 15 with CHT. I think that's a very high possibility. The other one is, does Laban come in just for pure interchange for Marata, and then he can go back in and keep Barney in the middle and keep that middle really solid, should we say. But we'll just have to wait and see. But overall, I think we should go in with confidence into this game. I feel from what the talk from the boys is, they're happy with the performances, but it's those little details, closing games out, creating enough space to be able to finish these games off. And now we're going up against a Souths team that I kind of thought was going to pick up and naturally progress. It seems like there's a lot of inner turmoil in that club. There's just guys not clicking. Things aren't working out. It seems as though what Sam Burgess was talking about was true. There's validity to that. But there is quality in that side. I mean, I can't take away that they've got, Cook, Murray, Latrell, Cody Walker, Tom Burgess, for impact. There's quality there. It just hasn't seemed to be able to work. Even against the Bulldogs last week, it just didn't fit. It was a win, but it wasn't as though it was dominant or you felt they were in control. And so we're coming up against a team, I suppose, that's still trying to figure things out or is going through something. And I suppose the job for us I feel, is to, put a statement out and almost kind of make them feel our presence. We shouldn't be reactive. Warriors in the past, I know, would go into this game and fear a team like Souths, and But I feel we should be the aggressor. I feel we should be dominant. I feel that we should be going in there and saying we are dictating terms. How do you respond to how we play? And I feel confident that we should do that. But I can't not acknowledge that there is quality there, but that quality doesn't seem to be working. But when it does, how might that look, and could it happen against us? Hard to say, but I think any away game, especially Souths, has always been tricky. I mean, if I go back to last season, they did a number on us at home. I mean, really wet weather, but what's to say they couldn't find some form, they couldn't find some consistency, and even attack wise, they're very good at using numbers. They're very sharp in how they manipulate the defensive line. But you should be saying, as a Warriors fan, or even as players, while we are the better team, we should be going there and dictating terms of how the game's played. We shouldn't be trying to react or wait for them to make moves. We should be making those moves. I feel pretty confident that we should. The only concern is that you don't know what you're going to get from the track. You might get these massive games. So I think the idea for us is to actually stick within our system and actually try and just complete and also round off the performance that we want to have. So from the dialogue from the boys post game was that they're happy with performance, but they want to fine tune. They want to close the gap. They want to have a solid win on the back end where there's no drop balls, there's no misplay the balls, there's no little missed details. They want to close teams out, close games out, so that we can kind of, I suppose, it's create that gap. We kind of 8-point wins where they feel kind of stressful at the end. We want to kind of get to a point where, hey, we want to dominate. We want to get 12, 14-point lead, and we don't want you to feel as though you got a chance to come back to the game. We're in control, and that's the situation. So let's hope for that. I'll wait to see it. I'm still predicting a close game. I think it's still around the 8-point mark for me that we'll win. But I would love to see us get a 14-point win. I'd love us to even get more on attack. That with the ball that we do get, I want to see a bit more of what we can do. Hopefully we get that with CNK, who's just coming in. Hopefully we get that with Tamari, who's just coming in. So we'll have to wait and see how that all looks. But it looks with the 4-pack we have, the bench and the guys, how they're performing. I'm talking about Berry, everyone, the back five. We should be able to go confident into this game and get the dub. I'm talked about Souths as a team. I thought that we lost to last year. We need to beat. This is a game we should go away, feel confident, and go and get the W and be clinical. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Now, just looking at it for an overview, it's been a good start to the season. I mean, initially, I think any NRL fan, you kind of think, oh, the team's performance from last season should automatically start like that, and we should have 4-0. And to go 0-2 at the start, you're thinking, wow, what's happening? What's going wrong? I think you have to equate for a time period where things are sort of gelling again. It's not so easy. These preseason games are a true reflection of the team. This is how the team's going to play, and they're going to absolutely dominate people. It just takes time. So I think that time is happening. I think there were signs in each game that things were going to sort of start clicking. I mean, we're not even at a finished product yet, but things are clicking as they're going along. The defense is getting tighter. The offense is finding ways to score when things aren't going their way. So there's signs that things are getting better every week. And some of those signs are, if I go back to the bench, the signings, how important have those signings been? I mean, I was a little bit skeptical of RTS, I'll be honest, from the fact that I maybe read into too much of his rugby performance, and obviously not making All Blacks regularly, getting in and out of maybe Super Rugby. I don't really remember or know, playing more provincial Auckland rugby. Maybe I bought too much of that, is that he was on a downfall. But really, that was naive of me, because he's almost really lifted our team to a new level. He's been impactful in pretty much the last 2 games in getting a win. And so you've seen immediately his value that he brings to the team is enormous. So that signing in of itself is great. It's been awesome. And I think once that you add in all the pieces that have been missing with CNK at the back, I think we should go really well and even potentially deep into a finals run based off of his adding his element, his skill set to the team has lifted the team. Um, so I got to give really credit to everyone that got that over the line. But just saying that's awesome. The other one, CHT, this was a guy that we all thought initially he's been out of the game for a year, give him a year in cup. To see what he's been able to do this early in the season, to almost be, elevated to, and potentially he's going to be elevated to a full-time bench spot as a cover man for Egan or utility, and do a job, is credit to him and credit to Webby and Cameron and the staff, because he's come in and made an immediate impact and has even provided the cover, more cover than what Suriname could have done, or even more cover than we could do previously. So it's really, I think, an improvement. He's adding an element to the team that's improved it, helped to get us these wins, get us over the line. So it's really cool to see Capewell again. Another example where he's a 1%ers guy. He does all the hard yards, and he almost opens up another bench rotation for us, because he can play 80 minutes and do a really good job out there. And so you're almost saying, well, this team is growing, it's developing, it's going to be even stronger come into, the back end of the year or a tough period. We're able to survive those tough periods because of the improvement of those players. And then likewise, if you think about the improvement of a Rocco Berry, I even think a little tiny improvement of a Bunty 4, where kind of changed his role from a starter to now more of a bench player this year, but doing a good shift in what he's good at. It's not like the guys have dropped off in what they're good at. They've almost maintained or improved, in micro levels for some, or even greater, at what they're doing. I think if you go back to Rocco Berry, a guy that's just really grown. He's grown as a player, and we're seeing him flourishing as a person and a player. And he's developing an entity for himself. He's developing his character. And a lot of times about quality players is they have a character with them. Rocco felt like almost like a very neutral vanilla type guy, that was good at stuff. But now you're seeing more of his character when he's playing. So you feel an overall confidence in guys like a Rocco Berry coming through. And also I think everyone else maintaining their standards or improving upon them. Depth players, I think we got young and up and coming players like Ali Leatoa, Ed Kossi, that haven't had their opportunity as of yet, but are right there or thereabouts. Setu Tu, Taufa Graham, these guys like that. Zion Mayu, Dimitri. There's that underbelly of like we're building players up while maintaining really high standards. So I want to give credit to the team. Everyone has added to the team. It's created either a depth or a quality, and I think that needs to be really credited. And I think we're just really at this point in stage trying to develop consistency, but trying to improve in each little area every week. And I suppose we're adding layers as we go. I mean, I've talked about offensively, layers are being added in terms of attacking plays. We're not seeing them every week, but the guys are playing really within the system and playing what's in front of them. Man, the Knights played a really good defensive game. I mean, the Raiders played a really solid defensive game. And the way we scored our tries wasn't through set plays all the time. It wasn't through structured attack. It was off the cuff. It was sometimes we needed to find another way to score a try. So it's those types of things where I'm seeing, okay, this team is kind of developing into, okay, if their defense takes away one thing, what's the other thing that we can do to counter that, and vice versa. So I'm really happy. I feel like this is probably the best depth we've had in a while. I feel that the team are keyed in and focused on the performances and getting the job done. I just feel that we've got to take it a week by week situation. We've had a first major injury really with Metcalf gone for almost a season. We've got guys like CNK and Marata just coming back. Walker has obviously had an injury. We don't know how far off he is. He might be close, but we seem to be finding guys filling in jobs and doing a job to help us get W's. And then you think of it as we get this package together and this performance gets to an 80-minute level, and if we hit our peak at the right time, wonder what it's going to look like with everyone playing their roles and flow. So that's exciting for me. But really happy with so far where we're at. But yeah, looking forward to more. And but that's my review anyway, guys. Yeah, sorry a bit late. So you might watch this and the game might have already been completed, but hopefully that last little part there about the overall, maybe something to think about. But if you've got comments, please share them. I'll try my best to get them. Again, please give us a like and a subscribe to wahsup TV for more New Zealand Warriors content. Peace.